Welcome back, everyone. So today I have some numbers for you guys in 2024 as we're coming to an end of it. This is from Station X. I kind of recently learned about them. They are a platform where you can go there for training and things like that. This is not a sponsor by them, but I just found it really interesting that they had this really in-depth statistics of numbers, graphs, percentage-wise of cybersecurity jobs around the entire world. Numbers by the millions. So let's go and start dissecting this a little bit more. Now, this article was back in September 17, 2024, so it wasn't that old. It's not that long ago. And I thought this was a great article. But again, there's no way for me to fact check every single number that they produce on this website. So I'm just going by what they're saying and kind of taking that into consideration to believe it or not almost, right? It's like 50-50 in the air. Let's go over some of the details of what this is going to show us right now. Which locations have the most cybersecurity jobs opening? What are the most in-demand specialization? Am I getting a fair salary? So a lot of those information, a lot of those questions to have you decide if you want to get into cybersecurity or not will probably be answered on this webpage, more or less. So let's dive a little deeper. Current state of cybersecurity employment. Cybersecurity job statistics illustrate that the numbers of cyber roles continue to increase across the region. What's more, even with current economic headwind, businesses still see cyber as a critical priority in investment. So that's good news, right? Companies are still putting money into growing their cyber defense, cybersecurity team, cybersecurity professionals. That sounds pretty promising at the current state. In 2023, ISC Squared, and ISC Squared is test producing cybersecurity such as CISSP, CC, SSCP, CGRC. The whole list goes on and on. They are a very reputable testing platform for cybersecurity. I think I got that right. Yeah. So estimated size of global cybersecurity workforce at 5.5 million. So the 5.5 million obviously includes all tiers of cybersecurity, which is from the lowest tier of like SOC 1, SOC 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to your pen testers, white hat, black hats, gray hats, purple hats, and also the C-suite level between directors and CISOs and so on and so forth, CSOs, not ISOs. Between 2022 and 2023, the cybersecurity workforce grew by 8.7%. Wow, that's better than inflation, I guess. That's actually better than most things. Even the S&P 500, you don't get 8.7%. I think average, well, I'll take that back. Average between 8 to 10%, depending on the year. Representing nearly 440,000 new positions. That is insane. That is a lot of jobs within that 1 year. But we still have to take into fact that reality kicks in and things happen. And companies or organizations are kind of taking back a step and reanalyzing a lot of the positions that they hired for during that period. Because remember, in 2024, we have this influx of layoffs, cybersecurity included. All regions saw annual growth in cybersecurity workforce size in 2023. Strongest growth was in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific regions, where the workforce increased year on year by 11.7 and 11.8% respectively. That is a crazy amount, and you would think that, oh, maybe in the United States it's huge because we have CrowdStrike, we have Splunk, we have all these big companies, but believe it or not, other countries are growing in popularity with cybersecurity. So basically, you can probably take yourself and plant yourself in one of these regions, and by having certifications, experience, you can probably land another cybersecurity job across the world. So in 2023, global cybersecurity workforce and year-on-year growth by region. North America, almost 1.5 mil. All right, that's 11.3% growth within 2023. North America is here, plus including Canada. And then you have a Latin America, which is at 4.5%. In any case, you could look at all these and you can say, wow, look at the growth all over. Cyber is the thing to get into. Well, let's continue on, because I do not want to cloud your judgment on that. I'm not here to divert you away from being cybersecurity experts. I do want you to be cybersecurity experts. But just like anything else, if you were to invest in real estate property or into stock market, you have to do your homework, right? You have to analyze the market to see if this is what you really want to do. Do you want to get into this? Now, you can be a newcomer or while you're still in college and you're watching this video, like, hey, statistics shows that the job market for cybersecurity has grown this much within the last 2 years, projected to grow, continue to grow in the future, 5 years to 10 years, then obviously there is a incentive to join the cybersecurity realm of things. Which is what I just brought up, the United States has the world's largest cybersecurity workforce, estimated at 1.33 million. So 1.3 million individuals in the cybersecurity just in the United States alone, which is impressive, right? How can you not land a job at this point? If the job market, if the percentage keeps growing, these individuals are already in these roles. Now, some of them, one or two, maybe a couple hundred, might have been laid off. Maybe they were replaced with lower salary people. But overall, the job market is still pretty active. Going through other countries, the lowest is Ireland. I wouldn't have known that. So again, what my point is, yes, we can look at this and say, hey, it's on the internet, it must be true. But you really have to take it with a grain of salt. How are they getting these exact numbers? Which is mind-baffling to me. But I'm here to just kind of show you that, more or less, if I just went on the fact that, okay, United States has the most jobs growth, right, in cybersecurity, or people sitting in cybersecurity roles, versus Japan, versus Singapore, versus Nigeria. Okay, I understand that. But to get exact numbers, that's a challenge in itself. I wouldn't even know how to validate that to begin with. Believe you and me, I will try my best to see how they got these numbers. I may just reach out to Station X and say, hey, how do you get these numbers? Right? Like, who are you getting these numbers from? And how accurate are they, right? They probably be like, yeah, it fluctuates between a couple thousand here and there. Okay, then I would believe it. Okay, keep on going. Cybersecurity staffing as part of employers' wider cybersecurity spending. Wow, look at this. Global cybersecurity market size was valued at $197 billion in 2021. It is predicted to reach $657 billion by 2030. 2030, that's another 6 years from now, guys. That's really promising, right? If you hear numbers like that up into 2030, how do you anticipate something like that, right? Is it because of inflation? Is it because of just a percentage that it has grown year after year and there's not going to be any downfall or cybersecurity? Are you to say that there's no new technology that can replace you or me during that time to reduce headcounts in cybersecurity professionals, right? Let's just say there's a new tool that comes out and we can get rid of your SOC 1 and SOC 2, just keep your SOC 3 and probably your incident responders. Wow, that would be amazing, right? Companies will be like, oh no, I need to jump on that. Now remember, the reason why I mentioned that is because let's take, for example, McDonald's. McDonald's decided to go with full-blown kiosk, all digital and replacing their actual human being staff. It has reduces footprint in employment, but instead they invested so much money into these kiosks, into the digital, on the app on the phone where you can just walk in and order your food. You don't need to order it and say it to someone that's gonna, probably get it wrong. But if it was done on the app or on the kiosk, you're selecting your items. And of course that was a cost to them. But I'm trying to figure out, like, how would we not know, or how would we know something like that won't replace lower tiers or even higher tiers, monitoring the SIM or investigating something that automates CrowdStrike to contain a threat or something like that, right? Automatically, which it does now. But then there's another system, another AI system that could potentially remediate it or go through the whole motions as if a human would do it, right? We don't know that yet, but to forecast out to 2030 is pretty extreme. So I'm really intrigued about how those numbers come about as well. Let's keep on going. How businesses spend their security budget. This is an interesting graph to show. Staff and compensation is obviously 38%. I would say, yeah, it's a big portion, right? You have your senior staff, you have your mid-level staff, you have the directors, your managers, and then you have your senior. Everyone that's part of the cybersecurity team is getting compensated, whether they get bonuses or not, or stock options. That's all included. And then you can see everything else is like, but one thing, the security budget, hardware, when we say hardware, it's more security oriented hardware. We're not talking about Cisco switches and routers. We're not talking about PC workstations. We're talking about hardware like IDS, IPS systems, potentially firewalls, and that nature, that the security stuff that would be more of a hardware. So that's 6% of that usually comes out the cybersecurity budget, because it belongs to the cybersecurity team. Or, I mean, that's debatable. Networking can claim the firewall, but security oversees it. All right. A lot of things. Training and development. Yes, most companies offer training and development. The current job that I'm working at has Udemy as like free, all of Udemy, and Udemy training that you can just take whenever you want, and it has all the classes, and I don't have to pay out of pocket for that, which is awesome, right? On-premises software outsourcing, that could be vendors and consultants, right? Vendors and consultants to people who are more advanced and understand what the software or the hardware that you have, or just the structure of it, right? Trying to implement frameworks. A lot of corporations hire consultants because they're supposed to be more specialized. Your staff would be more of the day-to-day operation stuff, even though some organization would have, very SMEs, right? Subject matter experts that would, do certain things, but not the daily operational stuff. That's awesome. Now you have a general idea of how organizations budget. They're different. Every organization is going to be different. Again, so I don't know how they even got this, which is interesting to see, but I guess they're just taking an overall average of a lot of organizations and how they spend their money. Now, the only way you can get information like this is from public companies, because public actually, like any company that's on the stock market, will have to share the information of how they're spending their money, right? So no one's just hoarding all that money like in the private sector. There are private sectors, but companies that have to disclose how they're spending their money would probably be able to put this chart together for you to see that this is where their cybersecurity expenses are. Businesses that are fully based in the cloud spend almost half, 47% of their security budget on staff. It is. I mean, depending on the size of the organization, of course. And in 2023, many companies worldwide reduced their tech spending due to wider economic pressure. However, despite this, the cybersecurity budget continues to rise. Because of economic circumstances, everyone else reduced their IT spending, but at the same time has kept up or raised their cybersecurity budget, which is mind-boggling, to be honest, right? If you're losing money or you're trying to cut money, but your cybersecurity is the only one that keeps on growing, that should be telling that cybersecurity is very important. Of course it is, because there's threats all over the place. Let's keep on going. In 2023, cybersecurity budgets increases on average by 6%. Now, this is and I saw this originally. I was like, 2020 to 2022 was great. And then look at this, 2022 to 2023 dropped significantly to 6%. Is that a trend, or will it go back up in a future date? Let's say 2024 right now and 2025. What I know and what I've been seeing, 2023 to 2024 has not been that great so far. Let's keep on reading. Hopefully the statistics on this would update by the next year. It'll reflect and it'll show 2024 to see what this chart actually looks like continuing on and on. Salary trends in cybersecurity. Wow. Can't complain there, right? Continues to climb. Median salaries are the highest in the North America. So great. We'll go into the details of that. Head of security, which is probably your CISO. Director of information security. Currently in 2023, about 240,000. Pretty impressive. I mean, these, I would say anything within the 200 is going to be within your C-suite level. And again, this all is based on the size of the organization. Smaller organizations may not be able to give as much or offer as much salary as the larger organizations with a lot more money to the C-suite level CISOs or director or deputy CISO, whatever it is. Nonetheless, these are impressive salaries. Now, everything else below that, detection engineer, security operation engineer. Sorry, that was my alarm. Security software engineer, anything in this range. Now, I'm not going to disclose, but I'm within this range. All right. Security. So we have all these. Let's just take it from the 60s to the 90s. I'm within that range, which is not bad. And right now, I mean, look at these salaries. Like, you have to really go down like the smaller totem pole to get to the 50s and 70s and 80s. Now let's just hit, because I know a lot of people who are new to all this and want to figure out if this is something they want to do. Let's just say a degree in cybersecurity. You got a few certifications, a couple maybe, Security Plus, maybe you got your CC, or maybe you even got your Google Cybersecurity, certified in cybersecurity, and now you're ready, right? Now you have some experience under your belt. You're doing labs, you're doing training, possibly maybe not professional experience, but you have experience going through these courses and these labs, and you're trying to land your first job. You are probably going to be in this range. I'm not gonna lie. That's the reality of it, right? But not necessarily an application security engineer, maybe just a security engineer, maybe a SOC analyst. So right here is a cyber threat intelligence analyst, cybersecurity analyst. These are the SOC analyst positions right here. 80 is a little high already. 80 probably will require you to have a few years of experience. And when I say a few years, probably like 1 or 2 years of experience. And the organization really loves your attitude and your personality. That's key. It's not just about your resume. It's not just about what you have on your resume. It's how you deliver yourself. All right, guys, remember how you deliver yourself. Beginners would probably fall in within this range. I know I said 100,000 and below, but it's going to be within this range. All right, beginners are going to be within this range. Now, look how crazy it was. This was 2021 and 2022. Remember, this is 2021. The salary was higher. It was a bubble. It was inflated. And I did videos telling you guys that I noticed jobs for SOC analysts are dropping. You know, you've seen videos on YouTube, how to become a SOC analyst and make $100,000 a year. Those numbers don't exist anymore, guys. This is 2021. We're in 2024 now. These are 2023 numbers. Believe it or not, there's even cheaper cyber threat analysts and SOC analysts and security engineers making less than these posted numbers. These are averages. So don't live by these numbers. It really depends on the organization and your negotiation skills. North America, 134,000, which is fair. It's a good salary. And then you have your EMA, your Asia, and your Latins. All right, we keep on going. Now, this is the section where it's going to point you in what sector of the industry is hiring with staff shortages. Education. And I'm going to tell you why education. I came from an education background. I was really familiar with education. I was there for almost half a decade. The problem with education, and because of their shortages or not having enough staff, is because of funding. Education, when we say education, it's not colleges making, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on each student. We're talking about like public schools. Now, public schools get funding from city and state, and they just don't have that much to entice pro or top talent. So they're kind of stuck in the middle, right? You don't qualify for the position. They don't hire you. They don't have enough resources. And that's why it seems a little outdated when they're doing things, is because they don't have enough people to do it. Government, non-military, that's plenty of those. Any city, state agencies that are not military, there's plenty, like there's Department of Law, there's Department of Resources and Parks. Yes, they all require funding from taxpayers to hire these talent, and it's a lot of it is just not there. Nonprofit is probably, I would agree. So obviously, as you're going down further and further, these are the top tiers, right? Financial services. These are like your big banks, your hedge funds, your trading floors, your telecommunications, Sprints, AT&T, T-Mobile, all those big companies. Engineers, software, security software. It could be like Google, Amazon, all these big cloud services, Azure, AWS, like working directly for them. And consulting. Consulting is always going to be top dollars. No matter what you say, top dollars for consultants, because they are the subject matter experts. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't need to figure out things on the fly. I mean, they figured out things on the fly, but they don't need you to tell them how to do things. They're supposed to tell you how to do things. All right. That's key what a consultant is. So, prime example would be if I hired you and you're waiting for me to guide you on what to do, consultants will be total opposite. They'll come in, you brief them on what you're expecting, and they go on and do their thing to produce something for you, right? So they're trying to sell and market themselves. Organization with shortages of cybersecurity in 2023. The inability to find enough qualified talent. What is different about this? Now, I don't totally agree with it. It's not about finding talent. It's about compensating for the talent is what's more important. And if you can't compensate for the talent, then you obviously will not be able to hire that talent, and you're stuck with lower tier talent that would do anything for a job and anything to make a dollar. That's the difference. It's not about inability to find enough qualified talent. Now, my thing is that you can hire me, and I feel like I'm a top talent for any position that I'm hired for. But if I'm not getting compensated enough, then I wouldn't go work for you, and you just lost talent. So that's the challenge. It's not because talent is not there. Talent is there. You can buy anyone. And that's a bad way of putting it. But everyone has a dollar value to them that they're willing to jump ship. I assure you that. Number 18. I think we're going through this pretty well. I know this is running long. I'm sorry. But this is really interesting because it has so much information. I won't go through everything, and I'll link this in the description below. I know that we're like at the 25-minute mark, and I'm only halfway through this. Take it right here. Certifications, CISSP, Security Plus, CISA, GIAC, CISM, SIP. And this was also what I've shown in the past videos. Who has what? Certification holders, opening request certifications. There's this many openings asking for only this many CISSPs. All right, you get that? So it's this many openings of jobs with this many people having Security Plus. This many jobs opened, 75,000, and only 35,000 people have this certification. You see what I mean? So what they're saying is that there's more jobs requesting certifications, but not enough certification holders of those particular certifications. Besides Security Plus. Security Plus is the only one everyone has, and there's plenty of jobs for that. So CISM, which I'm pretty on track right now. I'll probably pass my CISM and my CISA. And I'm also taking the C-Risk and the CGRC, even though I failed the CGRC. I'm going to take that again. All right, because I don't like failing, which I did already. But anyway, let's keep on going. I'm almost there. I'm going to skip a bunch of these things. We can go in more detail. If you are interested in me going further into all of this, just comment below. Let me know if you want to do that. But what I want to do is just go into the conclusion. And the conclusion was very interesting. All right. For many tech professionals, the last couple of years has been worrying. Yes, everyone's getting laid off. Faced with a difficult economic climate, yes, inflation, people are getting laid off. Yes, businesses have been forced to cut back on their tech spending. Yes, they've been laying off people, constantly laying off, which meant budget cuts. Yes, no new technology, sitting on old out legacy stuff, and yes, laying off more people. Yeah, many cases, layoffs. How many times did I say layoff? Too many times, because it's happening too many times. Cybersecurity isn't totally immune to this. I know, because I mentioned it in another video that I know people in cybersecurity that did get laid off. And why? Because they got laid off because I felt like it wasn't based on performance, but they got laid off, and then they're probably going to get backfilled by someone who's going to make less in salary. Sucks, doesn't it? Right? However, the cybersecurity job statistics shows that the market in this area remains remarkably buoyant. Whereas discretionary projects are prime targets for cuts, cybersecurity measures aren't something business can afford to put on ice. Their reputation, their sensitive data is more important than cutting cybersecurity. If they cut cybersecurity, they run the risk of losing the reputation, and they're losing the whole organization in whole, right? So imagine if the largest organization that comes to your mind first thing, and they had a whole security breach, and there was nothing they can do about because they don't have enough resources. But remind you, there's a lot of organizations that outsource that incident response to very high professional organizations, other companies that do this for a living. Mandiant is one of them. Google, which owns Mandiant now, you could hire them and have them on standby. If you have an incident, they'll come in and they'll like SWAT team the whole thing and make everything locked down. And trust me, that's what they do for a living. It's pretty much like Mr. Robot. If you ever seen that, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. All right, it's a whole series. The continued existence of the cybersecurity gap, along with list stream of new emerging threats and security breaches mean that the cybersecurity job market looks set to remain strong for the foreseeable future. Awesome. Now you know that cybersecurity is not going anywhere, but the market is still tight right now. 2023, 2024, that year, the people are not spending as much as they want to, but they want to increase their cybersecurity posture. They want to increase, their hardwares and their infrastructure to make sure that they're most secure, which is never going to be most secure. They can only put insurance around it by having good people, good talent, but then that comes at a cost, right? How much money are these organizations willing to spend? Now, here's this. This last part is just a kind of sales pitch, right? Station X membership help you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that is it for now. That was a good 30 minutes, but I think I went through a lot on this, and I need to reach out to Station X right now to figure out how do they get all these numbers, because I'm just intrigued right now. Like, how do you know in South America that you have this many jobs that were filled, like to the digit, the last one digit, like 1, 2, 3? How do you know you have that many people? Or North America? It's great that these statistics exist because that's how you follow trends, right? But at the same time, I need to make sure the trends that I'm following are accurate. And then that's just made out of thin air to promote the Station X stuff, right? So anyway, please hit that like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Take care.